Hello students, hope all of you are fine. In last class, I have discussed Gauss theorem. Today I am going to start the applications of Gauss theorem. The first application is how to find electric field due to an infinitely long charged wire. Earlier we used to find electric field intensity due to point charge or due to combination of charges using Coulomb's law or superposition principle. But when there is distribution of charge, in that case we cannot apply Coulomb's law or superposition principle. So in that case we can find electric field intensity using Gauss theorem. So now we will see how electric field can be calculated for infinitely long charged wire. So let us consider an infinitely long charged wire. Let positive charge be uniformly distributed over the wire such that the linear charge density is lambda. Now you can see there are large number of charges, so it's not possible to find electric field using Coulomb's law or using superposition principle. Now let P be any point at a perpendicular distance r from the wire, where we have to find the electric field intensity. Now the steps involved in finding electric field intensity using Gauss theorem are: first we have to draw a Gaussian surface through the point where we have to find electric field intensity. Now what is Gaussian surface? In last class I told you the Gaussian surface is a surface in electric field at the surface of which the magnitude of electric field intensity is same at all points. Means now from symmetry we can see here, if r be the distance of this point, I can consider this point here also, here. So the Gaussian surface for this distribution of charge will be cylindrical in shape. We can also take point, means we can take this point P anywhere around the wire. So shape should be cylindrical of the Gaussian surface. So we draw a Gaussian surface around this wire. This Gaussian surface is cylindrical in shape. Now if you see the direction of electric field intensity at this point due to this charged wire is outward. This is the direction of electric field, where E is the magnitude of electric field intensity at this point or at all points on this curved surface. Now at all points on this curved surface, the magnitude of electric field intensity will be same. So now we have to calculate the net electric flux through this Gaussian surface. You can see there are three surfaces. One is this curved surface, let it be S1. These are two planar surfaces because we have to consider the Gaussian surface as closed surface. So these are the two plane surfaces, let it be S2 and it be S3. So we have to see the electric flux through these three surfaces. Now if I consider area vector, here the area vector will also be act outward. So it is represented by vector ds1. If I draw area vector through this surface, this area vector will be in this direction, and electric field at this point is also outward. If I draw area vector here, this area vector will also be outward. So let this area vector be ds3. The direction of electric field will be outward. Now, in order to find the total electric flux, we have to take the sum of electric flux through these three surfaces, S1, S2 and S3. So, the linear charge density is lambda, means this charge is uniformly distributed over the wire such that the linear charge density is lambda. Now I have taken this portion of the wire of length L. This wire is of infinite length, so I have considered this portion which is of finite length and let this length be L. This is the perpendicular distance of the point where we are finding electric field intensity. So this Gaussian surface, you can see it is cylindrical in shape of length L and radius R. This is the radius of the cylinder. So electric flux through the Gaussian surface phi is equal to surface integral of electric field, that is equal to, now it will be sum of three terms, E dot ds1 plus E dot ds2 plus E dot ds3. Now you can see in case of surface S1, the angle between E and ds1 is 0. But in case of surface S2 and S3, the angle between electric field and this area vector is 90. So means these two surfaces, they will not contribute to electric flux. So we can write here E ds1 cos 0 plus E ds2 cos 90 plus E ds3 cos 90. So these two terms will be equal to 0, means electric flux will be equal to E ds1. Now since this E has same magnitude at every point of the curved surface, so we can take it outside the integral. Now this integral will be equal to the curved surface area of this cylinder, which is of length L and radius R. So this curved surface area will be 2 pi R into L. So this is the total electric flux through this Gaussian surface. So let I give this equation number 1. Now we have seen in Gauss theorem the electric flux through a closed surface is always equal to 1 over epsilon naught times the charge enclosed by that closed surface. So if we assume that this closed surface encloses charge q, then by Gauss theorem, phi E electric flux is equal to q over epsilon naught, where q is the charge enclosed by this closed surface. Now you can see this electric field E is due to charges inside the closed surface as well as the charges outside the closed surface. They will also contribute to electric field, but the charge which contribute to electric flux is only charge enclosed in this closed surface. These charges will not contribute to electric flux, but they are contributing to electric field. So if this is number 2, 1 and 2 implies E into 2 pi R L is equal to q over epsilon naught, means E is equal to q over 2 pi epsilon naught R L. So this is expression for electric field due to this infinitely long charged wire. We can write it in terms of linear charge density. We know that the linear charge density lambda is equal to charge per unit length. So if it is number 3 equation, number 4, then 3 and 4 implies E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught R. So this is expression for electric field due to infinitely long charged wire in terms of linear charge density and distance of the point where we have calculated this electric field. So you can see the electric field intensity is inversely proportional to the distance of the point where we are calculating electric field. Means as we move away from this wire, the electric field intensity go on decreasing. So if we write it in vector form, then E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught R. Let this be some unit vector. So from here you can see the direction of electric field is directed radially outward. So means in case of positively charged wire, the direction of electric field is away from the wire. Now this wire can be negatively charged. If it is negatively charged, then the direction of electric field will be towards the wire. Now if we plot graph between electric field and distance of the point from the wire, this distance is the perpendicular distance from the wire. So if I plot graph will be like this. Graph between electric field and perpendicular distance of the point from the wire where we have calculated electric field. So this graph will be like this. You can see the graph will be along both the axes. This graph will touch the y-axis or x-axis at infinity. So this is the graph which shows the variation of electric field with distance from the wire. If the wire is of finite length, then we have to consider adjuvants. But here we do not consider edge effects because this wire is of infinite length. So this is how we find electric field intensity due to infinitely long charged wire using Gauss theorem. There are two more applications by which we can find electric field for different distribution of charge. Those applications we will discuss in next class. So I stop for today. I wish that you stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.